general atmosphere, I think, is going in the wrong direction. So it's actually harder now, I think, to call out racism and not have yourself subjected to terrible, disgusting racism
Yeah.
now than it's ever been.
Lady Susan Hussey, the former royal lady in waiting, has given a personal apology to the Black British charity director Ngozi Fulani after asking her where she was really from at a palace reception last month. Now, in a statement, Buckingham Palace said Lady Hussey offered her sincere apologies for the comments and the distress they caused, adding that Ms. Fulani accepted the apology and recognised the comments had not been malicious. The statement also said royal household would continue to focus on inclusion and diversity. So what do we take from this? Let's talk to Lester Holloway, editor of the leading Black British newspaper The Voice. Lester, good evening.
Good evening, Henry.
Okay, now what do you make of that picture of Lady Hussey, who is smiling broadly, and Ngozi Fulani, whose smile is a little bit more circumspect? That's what I took from it. What did you make of that?
Well, it's difficult to tell from one photo, of course, but
Yes.
there is a certain look on Ngozi's face. I think what I make of it in total is that it's amazing that it's taken this long to get this far. It's been 3 weeks essentially since the scandal story first broke, and even if anti-West Coast trains arrived sooner than that.
Ha!
So
I see what you did there.
I definitely think it's taken some time, but obviously, apologies certainly for this type of racist offence do need to be delivered in person. If it's going to carry any weight at all. But of
Hang on a
course,
second, Lester. Prince William, he came out and criticised Lady Hussey immediately. I think the following day after the tweet thread from Ngozi Fulani, and she was essentially dismissed from her honorary position the same day.
Well, that's right, and I do think that Buckingham Palace acted quite fast there. But one of the disadvantages of the statement, of this meeting coming so late, and particularly the statement as well, is that the statement was released at the very time when people are watching a Netflix documentary where Prince Harry casts some aspersions on royal statements given in his name. But of course, reconciliation is better than no reconciliation. And there were some interesting parts of the statement as well. Like the meeting was filled with warmth and understanding. I assume the warmth means that Buckingham Palace can afford to put on the heating. But of course, the understanding bit, of course, is open a bit to interpretation.
I mean, I focused on this line. The royal household would continue to focus on inclusion and diversity. A lot of people on social media have said, well, hang on a minute. Do they really? I mean, what are the statistics, the ethnic breakdown of people who work at the palace? Until we know that, we can't conclude whether or not they are representative and whether they are moving into the 21st century.
We do need to know that. We do need to know their ethnicity pay gap as well. But what I would say is that it does feel like there has been a bit of a change. I'm not sure that the statement that was put out immediately after the story about Lady Hussey and Ngozi Fulani broke would have actually happened under the former Queen. I think that there has been a bit of a sea change. We've also seen King Charles attend a number of events in the Black community, including in Leeds. So I think that the signs are there that there might be some change, but of course, it needs to be followed through and it needs to be absolutely consistent.
Well, the question is what change looks like, because there's a percentage of people in the country, and I'm checking out on social media and other broadcasters, who think this apology was absolutely wrong. One of them is Anne Widdecombe, the former Tory MP, who says it should have been Ngozi Fulani apologising to Lady Hussey and the palace, not the other way around, and she feels the palace is going to regret this. And there's an awful lot of attention on the way Ngozi Fulani's charity Sister Space actually works, and got these investigations going on. It's a tricky period, isn't it?
Well, to be honest, I'm not really going to be bothered by what Anne Widdecombe says. She's essentially a bit of a rent-a-gob as far as that's concerned. But I'm glad that the palace actually recognised that there was, and there still is, a wave of hate that Ngozi Fulani has been subjected to. Even forcing Sister Space to be shut down for their personal safety, which is an absolutely horrendous situation. I really hope that the haters, read the statement and actually take this statement as a calling off of the dogs, if you like, and that they just need to leave Ngozi alone now, so that she can actually reopen Sister Space and do all the great work
Mm.
supporting Black victims of domestic violence that she was doing before this all broke.
And as the editor of The Voice, will you be looking for to determine whether this is just a moment or more of a movement for greater inclusion and diversity within the royal household?
Well, I think firstly, I take some encouragement from the fact that Prince Charles has got actually a fairly decent record when it comes to supporting Black organisations and individuals, not just through the Prince's Trust, but through his personal support of, for example, the Race at Work project that Business in the Community has done, amongst a lot of others. Now needs to be followed through, in his role as king. What I would say as well is that ultimately, what I would be looking for, is the movement on the issue of a genuine apology for enslavement, and a move towards reparations. Now, that's really got to come from government, but actually the royal family bear some responsibility as well, because those atrocities and genocide was actually carried out in the name of the royal family. So I think that King Charles can play an important role behind the scenes, perhaps even moving towards a joint statement between the monarchy and government. So that would be a very good move, in my view.
Mm. When it comes to the position of Ngozi Fulani and the fact that she tweeted out what had happened to her and got such a huge backlash, won't that put other people who feel they've been either racially abused or put in a very uncomfortable, what she called a traumatic position, won't it prevent them or put them off coming forward again? Because she really has been attacked, hasn't she?
I think, to be honest, people realised before this story broke that if you put your head above the parapet, especially today with social media being what it is, really being the Wild West, then you do can subject yourself to a barrage of pylons, and racist intimidation. So that was always there. That was there before this story broke. That will be there afterwards. I'm worried that the social media environment seems to be getting worse,
Yeah.
and we've got a lot of serious racists being let back on to Twitter now by Elon Musk, and the general atmosphere, I think, is going in the wrong direction. So it's actually harder now, I think, to call out racism and not have yourself subjected to terrible, disgusting racism
Yeah.
now than it's ever been.
And that's the final thought. Next time you're at the palace and a senior lady in waiting or courtier says, Lester, can I see your badge? Oh, Lester Holloway, the voice. Okay. What do you do? And where are you from? How will you answer?
Well, I'll be asking where they're from and where the royal family's from as well.
Okay.
uh, Germany.
Thank you very much indeed. Lester Holloway, editor of The Voice, a leading Black British newspaper.